A CSS reset is something that you will probably encounter in web design, so I wanted to take a moment to let you know what a reset is when you see it. First, let me say that you do not need to use a CSS reset, but many designers will still want to use them because a CSS reset is a style sheet with rules that effectively override the default styles given by a web browser for all HTML elements. We've talked about the default user agent style sheets. Those are the style sheets that a web browser defines to provide the default look for a web page. A CSS reset style sheet will set the default margins and font sizes so that you always start from a known place when you write your own styles, because every web browser will have slightly different defaults. Using a CSS reset means it doesn't matter which browser the user is using, you know where your starting point is. There's a number of open source and free CSS reset style sheets available, so let me show you how to use one and what the effect is. First, let me demonstrate what a CSS reset style sheet is designed to do. What we're looking at here is our simple web page as it appears inside of the Google Chrome web browser, and behind that, Internet Explorer 9. And although the content appears to start at exactly the same position, by the time you get to the bottom of the page where that refresh link is, the refresh link is actually just a few pixels off between the two browsers. Now, to many web developers and designers, those few pixels do not make a difference at all. We're not going to care about them. But for some designs, you want to have very precise control over exactly where your content appears. And those few pixels can make a difference. Even inside of the same web browser, between different versions, content can appear differently. So the icon here beside the address bar in Internet Explorer 9 is the compatibility view button. When I click that, we switch from the IE9 rendering back to the Internet Explorer version 7 rendering. And when I click that, you can see the content moves around ever so subtly, because Internet Explorer used a slightly different default style sheet than Internet Explorer 9 does. If you are extremely particular about your web design, this may be a cause for concern, and that is when you can go out and look for a CSS reset style sheet. And there's many available. This is one that comes with the Yahoo User Interface Library. That's a collection of JavaScript files and CSS files. One of the CSS files is a CSS reset style sheet that you can download and just include inside of your web pages using a link tag. Another popular CSS reset style sheet comes from Eric Meyer. It's on his website, meyerweb.com. In fact, the source code to the style sheet is right here on this web page at meyerweb.com/eric/tools/css/reset. It just so happens that I have that downloaded and put into a cssreset.css file on my local drive, and I can include that into page.htm. So let me paste this in here and save this. And now let's come out and refresh our browsers. And you can see that the reset style sheet removed all the margins, removed all the font sizes. And now when we design our own CSS to style this page, we'll really be starting from scratch. It is a lot more work, but some people do want this level of control. And now you'll know what a CSS reset is if you come across one.